This is video 3 of my series where I'm helping non-traditional applicants navigate the MBA application process. If you're just finding me now for the first time, hi, my name is Chrissy. I'm a Berkeley Haas MBA grad, and last week we talked about why culture fit matters more for a non-traditional applicant than it does a regular one. So if you missed that video in the series, I'll link it here so you can go and check that out before we jump into this one. And if you've been finding the series helpful, be sure to hit subscribe. It really helps me a lot, and that way you'll be notified whenever the rest of the videos in the series drop. Alright, so by now you know that you want to do an MBA, you know that culture matters, but now the question is, where do you actually apply? Some people apply to 5 or 6 schools, some people apply to 8, some to just 1. I myself applied to 3. MIT Sloan, Columbia Business School, and Berkeley Haas, and I was lucky enough to get into all 3. Today I'm going to walk you through how I built that list and how you can think about building yours as a non-traditional applicant. Before we get into my process, let's talk a little bit about some of the biggest mistakes I see people make when picking schools. They only pick based on rankings or prestige. And trust me, I get it. You want to go to a top school, you want the name recognition, you want people to be impressed when you put on the school hoodie. But here's the thing, rankings change every year. You could start off at a program that's in the top 3 and end up out of the top 10 by the time you graduate. The rankings shift every year based on criteria that may or may not have anything to do with the career that you're going after. But you want to know something that doesn't change? The people you meet, the network you build, and the experiences that you get to have for 2 years. If you pick a school just because it's ranked number 2 on the list and it's a really bad culture fit for you, you're gonna end up being miserable. And you're gonna spend like $200K being miserable. I don't want to contradict myself because I know I've said that going to a top program mattered a lot to me too, but rankings can't be your only filter. So here's how I built my list. Number 1, I started with the top 15 programs at the time of my application. And I know, I literally just told you that rankings don't matter, and then here I am telling you that the first step is to take the top 15 programs, but just stick with me for a second, okay? Again, I'm not going to pretend that the rankings don't matter at all. They are a good barometer of how the program's doing at the time. It really was important for me to be in a top program, so I started with that list and a few others that tend to show up in those rankings consistently. Step number 2, I took a look at that list and I immediately crossed off any of those that didn't make any sense for me geographically. This one might be personal, but for me, geography was an important factor. I wanted to think about where I could see my family long term, where I really wanted to build my network. I think if you're young and single and really up for an adventure, that might not be as important for you. The reality is a lot of people end up living near wherever they went to school, and I think you're able to really maximize your network after graduation because people are going to stay close by to the university. So if that's a place that you can see yourself staying, that can be a great option. So for me, I was able to cut down the list to about 9 schools from there. Step number 3, start doing some light research. I went to the school's websites, I started looking at what I could find online, and I started asking myself some questions. What are the school's values? What's the structure of the program? Is it mostly in person, online? Is it off campus or on site? Is this school known for things that I'm interested in, like tech, entertainment, entrepreneurship? Does this feel like a place I could see myself? At this point in the process, money wasn't really a factor because the reality is they're all really expensive. Step number 4, I narrowed it down to 3 options. For me, that was MIT, Columbia, and Haas. These were 3 schools I was genuinely excited to go to. I didn't apply to safety schools or reach schools. I just wanted to apply to ones I legitimately wanted to get into. And here's something kind of interesting. I found that the amount of schools people apply to can vary drastically depending on the type of program. So I went to an executive MBA program, and what I found is that most people doing executive MBAs only applied to one program. It's either the one they want to go to or nothing. Full-time students that I've met maybe apply to 5 or 6, and part-time programs end up being somewhere in the middle. I applied to 3 because I wanted options. I wanted to be able to compare offers, I wanted to see what kinds of financial aid I would get from different schools, and to find the best culture fit. So I got into all 3 schools. Now what? Here's how I ultimately chose Berkeley. Factor number 1, Where could I see my family's future long term? This ties back to the geography. I wanted to build a network in a place where I could grab a coffee with a classmate 5 years down the road or have a play date with my classmates' kids. California just felt like it made sense. The Bay Area has my interests of tech and entertainment, and it just kind of has the lifestyle that we like. Factor number 2, scholarships. So let's talk a little bit about money. I got the most amount of scholarship support from MIT, a little bit from Berkeley, and none from Columbia. That really mattered to me. Not because I couldn't afford to go to Columbia, but because I feel like a scholarship is the school's way of showing you that you matter to them as a member of the cohort. They're putting their money where their mouth is, they're investing in you, and that felt meaningful. Factor number 3 was culture. This really was the deciding factor. I talked about this in the last video, but culture really was everything for me. Berkeley just felt like my people. The defining leadership principles really resonated with me. I could see it in how people took the time to answer my questions and pick up my phone call. MIT had the prestige and they gave me a wonderful scholarship, but I just felt like the cohort was a little more reserved. Columbia had that fancy, wonderful label of being an Ivy League school, but I really found that I loved New York more than Columbia itself. Berkeley just felt like home. Okay, so if you're watching this and you're feeling like, Chrissy, I have no idea where to start. Here's the first question I'd ask you. Do you want more of a pipeline, structured path, or more of a choose your own adventure type path? Some schools are really good at funneling people into consulting, finance. They have really structured recruiting, clear timelines, employer connections. You know exactly what you're getting. But other schools like Berkeley are more open-ended. They're more entrepreneurial. It's more about you defining your own path. So there's more flexibility, but that also means more responsibility. I want to call out that I know I'm stereotyping a little bit to make this easier and that schools can be more dynamic. And I also want to call out that neither one of these paths is better than the other. It's really just more about knowing what you need and what you're looking for. If you're someone who really thrives with structure, who wants clear guardrails, who's pivoting into more traditional industry, I think those pipeline schools would be great for you. But if you're someone who wants flexibility, you want to explore more, and you're okay with ambiguity, the entrepreneurial schools might be a better fit. Now, someone might be asking, should non-traditional applicants only apply to schools known for diversity and entrepreneurship? And I think my answer is no. You can succeed at any of these schools. But, and this is important, you have to be willing to adapt your strategy. If you go to a school that's heavily focused on finance and consulting with a non-traditional background, you just have to know that the program is not built around people like you. You'll need to hack your path. You're gonna need more discipline. You're gonna need more clarity on where you're going and the kind of help you need to get there. You'll have to hold strong to your skills and not feel that you have to conform to the things around you. And it helps if your personal brand is really strong. So yes, you can go to any of these top programs and still succeed. But the more traditional the program, the more that you'll need to own your non-traditional path. You'll need to be confident and know what you bring to the table. At schools like Berkeley or Kellogg or Stanford, where entrepreneurship and diversity are celebrated, you might have an easier time finding your people. There's already infrastructure there to support you. But that doesn't mean you have to count out the other schools just because they're known for finance. Just know what you're getting into. All right, so here's your homework for the week. And yes, you still have homework. This is business school. The work starts before you even get in. Step number 1, make a list of the top 15 MBA programs. Just write them all down somewhere. Step number 2, cross out any of the ones that don't make sense geographically for you. Be honest with yourself. Where do you actually want to live? Where can you see yourself staying? Step number 3, for the schools left on your list, start to do some light research. What are their core values? Does that align with you? Are they known for industries that you care about? What kind of structure is it? Is it more of a pipeline school or choose your own adventure? And if you're not sure which school falls into which category, I break this down a little bit more in my free guide. I'm going to link it in the description below, so be sure to grab that. Step number 4, narrow it down to 3 or 5 schools you're genuinely excited about. Not schools you think you should apply to, but ones you can actually see yourself at. Step number 5, start reaching out to alums from that school, either through LinkedIn or by email if you happen to have that info. We talked about this in the video last week. see who responds to you, start to set up some coffee chats and ask questions. See who feels like your people. The schools on your list should feel exciting, not like a chore. If you don't genuinely feel excited to go there, don't apply. The admissions team is going to be able to tell. All right, next week we're diving into the full MBA application. We're talking timeline, components, strategy, everything you need to know. But before we can work on an application, you need to know where you're applying. So now you have the tools to figure that out. If you need help thinking about your school list or your positioning as a non-traditional student, I'm offering a few strategy sessions for a limited time, so I'll put a link in the description for that if you think that's something that can be helpful. And if you haven't already grabbed my free guide, it breaks down more about picking schools and positioning your non-traditional background, so be sure to grab that below. All right, that's it for this one. Good luck with that homework, and we'll see you next week. Bye!